Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the backstory. If you are new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Now ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you one question: that is President Ruto regretting impeaching Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy president? And is President William Ruto going to be the first president in Kenya to serve one term? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this video by Didimat Baraza, who is a member of the UDA party.
At times, it's not about the people you love or the people you like. It's about the people you need, the people you require. So ile wakati ikifika, hata ule Rigathi ambayo tulimwimpeach, if we require him, tutamrudisha, because he was only unsuitable to serve our country as a deputy president, but he can be suitable to be a voter, to be a member of our coalition. Na sababu sahil, I'm sure he will undergo some kind of rehabilitation. Sahi amejua ya kwamba ukikuwa naibu rais mako unakuwa mtu ambaye unapenda makabila yote. He is learning something, and I'm sure even the people, the church is praying for him. So we are hoping that by 2027 mwezi wa tano hapa, he will have reformed. We will revive his membership kwa UDA na tumrudishe akae tu hapa kama member, tumtafutie kazi nyingine ambayo anaweza fanya wakati hiyo ikifika. So don't worry.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I asked you a question that do you think President William Ruto is regretting impeaching Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy? And do you think President William Ruto can work with Rigathi Gachagua again in 2027? For me, I think it's a possibility. They can still work together. One is that President William Ruto is regretting impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, because for me, I think President William Ruto's handlers underrated Rigathi Gachagua. They thought that by just impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, it was going to be very easy to replace him. And his replacement, as his handlers had told him, was Kindiki. And they thought that by impeaching Gachagua and replacing him with Kindiki, it was going to be a very, very easy ride. But from my analysis, I think that has worked against the president. And it has given Rigathi Gachagua like an upper hand to consolidate Central Kenya as a voting bloc against President William Ruto. And that is why I'm saying that President William Ruto and his handlers must be regretting impeaching Rigathi Gachagua. Because once Rigathi Gachagua has consolidated Central Kenya votes, then it means he has swept the carpet under the feet of President William Ruto. And President William Ruto will not get those votes ahead of 2027. So what are his options? One, of late he has tried to like get some of his close friends from Central Kenya to try and attack Rigathi Gachagua, try and water down his influence. And that has not worked so far. The second strategy has been unleashing the Deputy President Kindiki to try and woo Central Kenya back to President William Ruto's fold. And there are talks that President William Ruto is also planning to go to Central Kenya maybe in the next week or the next 2 weeks to try and test the waters. I don't know if that will work for him. But what Didimat Baraza has talked about here has also made me to think that President William Ruto is regretting losing Central Kenya. And for him and his handlers, there could be a ploy to try and lure Rigathi Gachagua back to his fold so that they can work together in 2027, maybe by forming a pre-election coalition agreement. Because most definitely Rigathi Gachagua will consolidate Central Kenya. He will have so many members of parliament in his party, and that will give him like a bargaining chip with whoever will win in 2020. It's not guaranteed that President William Ruto will win, but if he wins, or if he sees there is a possibility of him not winning, then he can come up with a post-election kind of agreement with Rigathi Gachagua, or pre-election or post-election. Because remember, in politics, there's one thing which is constant, it's always said that there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies in politics. So Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto can still work in 2027. But this time around, what is going to be very different is that Rigathi Gachagua is going into this a clever man, in that he will have his own political parties, his own political party with members who are affiliated to him. So he will be negotiating with President William Ruto from a standpoint of strength, because he will have his own members of parliament who are affiliated to him and who are loyal to his cause. And therefore, whatever agreement that they will sign with President William Ruto pre or post-election will be binding. Unlike in the past, whereby Rigathi Gachagua entered into a coalition without a political party, this time round, if he is to work with President William Ruto, then it will be from a strong point. But there are also guys who are talking about Rigathi Gachagua not willing to work with President William Ruto and working on a coalition that will make President William Ruto be a one-term president. That story has also been captured in the Standard newspaper, whereby a coalition is being crafted in which several political leaders from different regions will try and consolidate their regions. Maybe there will be political parties from different regions. Take, for example, Kisii will have Matiang'i, we have Kalonzo Musyoka, we have Rigathi Gachagua. All these politicians will ring fence their backyards, and then thereafter, heading into 2027, they will unleash a coalition that will lock President William Ruto out of these regions, and whoever they will support in 2027, according to what is in the Standard newspaper, will send President William Ruto home. But, you know, to send an incumbent home is very difficult. And, you know, politicians, as well, with their selfish interests, might not be willing to, like, do what? Like, elect one of them to go for the presidency against President William Ruto. So this is where now Rigathi and his handlers will come in if he manages to consolidate Central Kenya. Because as it is right now, I think Central Kenya is gone away from President William Ruto. That is why President William Ruto's handlers are trying to test waters here and there, sending mixed signals here and there. One, just as I've told you, they've tried to unleash the deputy president, which is who is Kidiki, to try and woo Central Kenya by going there with goodies, trying to test the waters to see if the president goes there, what is the worst that can happen. Then secondly, they have also come up with this narrative that they are going to work with Rigathi Gachagua, that Rigathi Gachagua is still part of their coalition. Yeah, it can happen, because just as I've said, politics, anything can happen. Friends and enemies can work together, and that can work against President William Ruto. Then the third one is they've also unleashed people who are trying to discredit Rigathi Gachagua in Central Kenya, and that has not worked. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Kindly comment on the video down below and tell us what you think. Do you think President William Ruto will be the first to serve as a one-term president in Kenya? And do you think Rigathi Gachagua at some point will work with William Ruto? And another thing that I've also talked about is that Rigathi Gachagua can vie in 2027. And if you look at what is happening right now, I think I've talked about this before. That is the only guy who can take on President William Ruto and maybe win against him, because look at him, he's charismatic and is an orator as well. And those are the qualities that someone who is to take on President William Ruto in 2027 must have. Because if you look at Kalonzo Musyoka, okay, he's like a senior politician in Kenya right now, but one weakness that he has is the way he articulates issues. By now, you'd expect him to be articulating issues that are affecting Kenyans. But he's not done that in a way that resonates with the common man. Then there is Matiang'i. Matiang'i is more of an executive. He's not a politician per se. Even though the Gen Zs love him, but you know, he also has to come out and speak up and talk to Kenyans in a way that will appeal to Kenyans' heart. You know, Kenyans are very, very unique kind of voters. So in all this, if President William Ruto's handlers do not take precautions, then I think most definitely he will be a one-term president. But it depends on how he plays his cards heading into 2027. But as things stand right now, he might be a one-term president. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it from us. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Until next time, bye-bye.